One of the most satisfying things you can do with nails is take a piece of netting and pull it over and squish it to get an amazing design. Greg's gonna show you exactly how to do that right now.
We have been getting a lot of requests on how to use the netting to create that webbed impression. And I'm gonna show you guys tips and tricks so you're going to be able to execute your designs with ease. Okay, so what I wanna be able to do is quickly prepare her natural nail. I'm just going to lightly feather away the shine with a medium arbor band. Once I've done that, I'm going to remove the dust, oils, and contaminants from the surface with swipe. We're going to apply 2 coats of protein bond. Before we get into building the body, I am going to build a nice free edge, which is going to establish length. This is going to give me the right size so that when I actually build the body in one pearl, it's going to make it really, really easy for me to execute this design. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place the tab underneath, and then we are going to place it underneath. I want to make sure the form is touching, again, dead center. As you guys can see, I'm using my finger to kind of raise it up so that we have it as even as we possibly can. And then I'm just securing from the side. I'm going to use Cover Pink. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my brush, I'm going to submerge it, I'm going to tap it, and I'm going to get a nice, even, medium-sized bead on one side of my brush. Now, since I don't want this to run all over the place, I'm going to turn this over. I'm going to drain it. I'm going to set this down. As you can see, I have a nice stable pearl. I'm going to use the body of the brush. One of the things I like to do is I like to try to get it as flat as I can right to the center, and then with the excess on the side, I'm going to use this to walk it right up to the corner. And you can see how I'm doing that from the top of the pearl. Wiping my brush, coming over the top, and then again, using the body to try to bring it into the right length and shape. Okay. You can go through the fingers, you could build 2 or 3 at a time, go back, pinch in a nice C curve, build out all the free edges, and this is going to allow you to come through and do the body and set you up for the netting procedure. What we want to be able to do is we want to be able to pick up a pearl that's going to move from cuticle to free edge not too fast. I want a nice self-leveling consistency. One of the things I try to do is I try to hold the finger down, and then I'm going to get a really nice bead on one side of my brush, allow this to settle. And then what we're going to do is we're going to set this right at the cuticle area, and the first thing I want to be able to do is use the tip of my brush to try to get it as nice and even as we possibly can. And then you notice as the bulk starts to run down, I'm going to pick it up and try to juggle it back into the body. And then as it gets to the front, I can lightly feather from the tip, blending it all. Now, one thing I can tell you is that it's not even with the transfer of the acrylic as I brush it through. So what I have to be able to do is I have to be able to use the body of my brush and kind of rebalance some of that acrylic through and back into the upper arch area. But one of the things I want to be able to do is I want to be able to try to build this in one nice even structure. That way when I do the netting, I'm not going to have 2 different consistencies to try to get the netting through. It's just one even structure from cuticle to free edge. So once we actually get this all the way brushed through the nail, nice and even, what I want to do is I want to wait for, I'd say, approximately a minute. Okay, so what we do is we have our into netting. What I want to be able to do is I want to be able to press it into the powder just like this. And what that's going to do, it's going to lace the netting with a little bit of powder so that it doesn't stick to the surface of the acrylic when I'm pulling down and through. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold my finger underneath just like this. And I want to make sure that I'm using enough pressure as I am pulling through the surface all the way down. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get a really nice, even design. Okay. Now, once I have it in, don't just rip it out. What you want to be able to do is you want to be lightly, as you can see, I'm pulling one corner, I'm lightly pulling another. I want to be able to work my corners away, and I'm pulling this way towards myself. I don't want to just rip it off. Nice and slow. If you have to, you can always touch the surface with a little bit of powder. And again, work it nice and slow all the way to the very, very edge until it completely comes off, just like this. You can see it looks like scales, looks absolutely amazing. Once we have removed the netting, we're going to take a color with a ton of contrast, and that is Epic Black from Slickpour. What I'm going to do is I'm going to work a really nice wet consistency all the way through the scale look. So as you can see, I just want to be able to just kind of brush it in and have it run inside all of the openings. Come back with just a little bit more. And what I want to be able to do again is nice and wet. All right. Once all the crevices are filled, what we're going to do is we're going to allow this to dry. We're going to file this into shape. You're going to see what the design looks like. Let's go ahead and take the form off and begin filing this into shape. So one of the things I want to be able to do before we actually start to reveal the design is I just want to make sure that all my edges are nice and even. Going to use the Young Nails coarse safety bit. I'm going to run my electric file around 12,000 RPMs. Let me just go ahead and file the rest of this into shape. All right, so after we have filed it into shape, what I've done is I've protein bonded the surface. I'm going to take a nice coat of stain resistant top coat. I'm going to apply that from cuticle to free edging and to be able to see the shine as well as the design stand out.